Hey everyone, this is Mike and welcome to my introduction guide to Gunbreaker. So in today's video I'll go over everything that you need to know to play Gunbreaker at level 90. Let's start off with the basics. For basic combos, Gunbreaker only has one of them for single target, which is a simple 1-2-3 combo. The second hit in the combo will grant us this tiny shield called Brutal Shell, which we'll talk more about in just a second. And then the third hit will generate a cartridge for us on our cartridge gauge. This can stack up to 3 times and these just stay on there until we use them. For AoE we have a simple 1-2 combo and the second hit will also generate a cartridge for us. Now these cartridges can be spent on 4 different skills and they're all going to be GCDs, but a few of them are going to be a bit special. So let's start with our AoE spender, as that is the only normal one that we have. This simply uses 1 cartridge to do an AoE attack. Now outside of this we still have double down for AoE as well, but this one is on a 60-second cooldown, scales with skill speed, so as you can see it's a little bit lower than 60 seconds for me because I have some skill speed on my build, and it will also take up 2 cartridges and it looks like this. Now because it has such a high potency, it's also worth using in our single target rotation. Outside of this, the rest of our spenders, which is going to be Burst Strike and Gnashing Fang, are a little bit special, and it's because of this skill right here, Continuation. Now as you can see on the left side, it lists the 4 skills that will trigger the continuation effect, allowing the GCD to be followed up with the continuation of global cooldown. And the way this works is, you press the GCD and then continuation will change its effect to a specific off global cooldown. And you also need to use this one before you press the next GCD, or the effect will go away. And this is kind of like a combo system, I guess you could say. It is very unique to Gunbreaker. So I'll first get my cartridges back, and we have a skill that allows us to use that, or an ability actually, which is Bloodfest. This will draw 3 cartridges from an enemy, so you do need a target for this, but as long as you have a target you can just pull 3 cartridges. It has a 90-second cooldown. So pay attention to my continuation button over here because this is going to change effect. So our normal single target spender is Burst Strike. As you can see, our continuation changed to Hyper Velocity, allowing me to follow that up. So in a normal combo you would just do it like this before you press the next GCD. Then our final spender is Gnashing Fang, and this is a special combo because not only does it require a cartridge, but it's also on a 30-second cooldown, again scaling with skill speed, and each hit in the 3-part combo will also trigger the continuation effect. So 1 GCD, continuation, the second hit, continuation again, and then the third hit, continuation again. And then of course you need to press continuation after each of the GCDs inside this combo window, because otherwise the continuation buff is going to go away. We then have a few more skills to talk about before we can go into why all of these things are on a 30-second or a 60-second cooldown. So first off we have Sonic Break. This one is a single target attack that also applies a damage over time effect, as you can see over here. And then for our off-global cooldowns, we have Bow Shock, 60-second cooldown, deals AoE damage as well as applying an AoE damage over time effect. Again, you can see it over here. We then have Rev Divide. This is our gap closer, and this one will stack up to 2 times. Generally, you'll want to save 2 charges to use in our 60-second burst window, and you'll see why in just a second. And then we also have Blasting Zone. This is just a single target off global cooldown. Now all of our skills are either, as I mentioned before, on a 60-second or on a 30-second cooldown, and the reason for that is because of No Mercy. This is our burst window. So during our No Mercy buff we'll want to be using all of our abilities that are our high damage abilities, and if we want to use No Mercy to the fullest we need to have 3 cartridges going into our No Mercy. So we want to be using the following. We use No Mercy, then we have our Gnashing Fang, we have our Double Down, so those are our 3 cartridges spent. We then have Sonic Break, and that does it for all of our GCDs, and then we still have Bow Shock, our 2 Rev Divides, as well as our Blasting Zone. And then we'll also be using any Burst Strikes that we get afterwards, because we either have Bloodfest ready, because Bloodfest is 90 seconds, so we don't have it for every No Mercy window, and also depending on where we are in our 1-2-3 combo, our No Mercy is going to look slightly different, because sometimes we'll get an extra cartridge at the end, which will allow us to use an extra Burst Strike. So it looks a little bit like this. I'll just do the opener of Gunbreaker, the standard opener that is right now. So we activate No Mercy, Gnashing Fang, use our off-global cooldowns as well when we can, Double Down, Sonic Break, and then we finish our Gnashing Fang combo. And then as you can see we still have a cartridge left, so I'll be using that on a Burst Strike. Then once your No Mercy is done, we still have a few seconds left on it, but we've used all of our strong abilities inside of it. We're just going to be pressing our 1, 2, 3 combo until our Gnashing Fang is ready, which it will be on the next GCD. So Gnashing Fang's ready, so we use that again. Our Blasting Zone is about to come off cooldown as well, so we also use our Blasting Zone. And then we go back to just using our 1, 2, 3 combo. Now I'm going to use one Burst Strike because we can use one of them in between this specific burst window. And then we're just building up our cartridges again until we have 3 of them, because we need 3 for our next No Mercy. And then as you can see, No Mercy is going to become ready right here. We have 3 cartridges. So No Mercy, Gnashing Fang, Double Down, as well as Sonic Break, and then all of the other off-global cooldowns that we saved up for this. Of course, you can also use one Rough Divide outside of No Mercy if you need it for a gap closer, but ideally you'd be saving it for No Mercy itself. And then as you can see, we still have 1 GCD left inside No Mercy, so I'm gonna do 1 extra Burst Strike to get that bonus damage in there. And then again, just like before, we get a cartridge, Gnashing Fang is ready, we use our Gnashing Fang, and then here we also have Bloodfest. But that is all I'll be showing for the rotation today, as the rotation is a little bit more intricate than most of the other tanks, which is why I will be doing a separate video for Gunbreaker at some point. Might be in the near future, might be once I am done with all of the other guides for the other jobs as well, but we'll see. That is basically the idea behind the gameplay of Gunbreaker. During the 1 minute burst window, you want to use everything that you have, so make sure that you have 3 cartridges ready for it, and then 30 seconds after that, you'll still want to be using 1 Gnashing Fang, as well as 1 Blasting Zone, and then everything will line up again for the next No Mercy. So that does it for the DPS aspect of Gunbreaker. Let's then quickly go over the defensive aspect, because we're still a tank, so we have defensive mitigation as well. First of all, if you want to be tanking, you turn on your tank stance. If you don't want to be tanking, you leave this thing off, simple as that. As all tanks, we have Rampart. This is a 20% damage mitigation for 20 seconds. We also have Nebula. This is our 30% mitigation for 15 seconds. Unlike Warrior, this doesn't have anything special to it. Camouflage is our unique mitigation, and this one is kind of bad because it only gives us 10% mitigation for 20 seconds, but it's pretty good for dungeons because it also increases our parry rate by 50%. Now, parrying can only occur on physical attacks, hence why it's pretty good in dungeons, and because it's only a 50% increase to parry something, it's not consistent enough to use on an actual physical tank buster. So that's why if you're using this, you only use it for the 10% mitigation that you get from it, and not from the parry chance. Our spammable cooldown is Heart of Corundum, and this will do a lot of things for us. So first of all, it will give us a damage reduction for 15%. It'll give us 15% extra damage reduction for the first 4 seconds, and it will also apply a heal on us, which is this little one that you can see over here. And this works the same as Scholar's Excog, so this will heal us at the end of its duration, or it will heal us once we drop below 50% HP. It's also possible to use Heart of Corundum on a party member, and then it will give all the same effects, on top of also giving them that Brutal Shell, which again, the Brutal Shell is that little tiny shield that you get, as you can see over here, by using our 1-2 combo. So when we use this on a party member, we'll also be giving them that. Then we have Aurora. This is a single target heal over time effect that we can apply to either ourselves or a party member, but generally we'll be using it on ourselves, unless of course you are off tanking, then you can just give this to the main tank. And then our ultimate cooldown is Super Bolite. This will make us shoot ourselves in the face, drop us to 1 HP, and then we will not take damage for the next 10 seconds. And of course we can use our Heart of Corundum as well as our Aurora to regen ourselves a little bit. As you can see, this is all the healing I already did by myself, so it's a very easy to use invul, and also very easy to heal for your healers as well, because you won't be taking damage for 10 seconds after you drop to 1 HP. Then of course we still have our role actions, so Provoke makes sure that you are on the top of the enmity list. Shirk is the opposite, so if you want to do a tank swap, you shirk your co-tank so that you make sure that they have the aggro instead. Then we have Interject. This silences a target, not usable on most fights, but certain boss fights allows you to use this. We have Low Blow. This will stun an enemy, usually used in dungeons if there's like a big AoE coming out or something like that. And then we have Arm's Length. This will nullify knockbacks, but in a dungeon this can also slow enemies that are attacking you, thus effectively becoming an extra cooldown that you can use inside of a dungeon trash pack. Doesn't work on most bosses though. Oh, and I also forgot to mention we have Reprisal. This is an AoE damage reduction by 10%, so good for bosses, good in dungeons. And we also have Heart of Light. This is our party mitigation, and this will reduce the damage that our party takes by 10% for magical damage, and it also lasts for 15 seconds. So it's not as useful as something like Shake It Off from Warrior, where that applies a shield, so that works on everything. Heart of Light only works on magical raid-wise, but luckily enough, most raid wights in the game are also magic damage. And that does it for our little overview of Gunbreaker. So if you have any more questions, then feel free to leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll definitely get back to you. And then of course in the future I'll also be doing the rotation guides for Gunbreaker, because there's a little bit more to it than, let's say, Warrior for example, but that's something that you can look forward to coming in the near future. Anyways, that's gonna do it for today, so I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for their support, and I'll see you in the next one.